We're continuing to make really good progress inside our application. Users can enter some name, some phone number, and a shift in here. All we have to do now is take those little pieces of data and save it over to Firebase whenever a user presses the Create button down here. Now, I bet you know what's going to come next. We're going to create an event handler on the button. Whenever it is pressed, we will call an action creator, and this action creator will attempt to save our data to Firebase. If it is successful, we will navigate the user back to the employee list screen. Okay, that's going to be our roadmap here. So we're going to hook up the button, make the action creator, save the record, and then navigate back to the employee list screen where the user can then see their new employee pop up on the list. So it's going to be a little bit of a chunk of work, so let's get right on down to it. The first thing we'll do inside of our employee create component, we're going to find that button and we're going to wire up an event handler on it. So I'm going to scroll down to our button and we'll put on here on press, and we'll have this call a helper method that we're going to create in just a second, which we'll call on button press. And because it is a callback that is going to make reference to this, we're going to make sure to bind the context. So then we'll scroll back up to the top and define on button press. Now inside of here, we do not yet have an action creator to call. We haven't really made anything to save or create employee, anything like that. I'm just going to assume that we're going to make an action creator called something like, let's call it employee create. All right, that's going to be the name of our action creator. So I'm going to assume that we're going to call employee create with our name, phone number, and shift time. So I'm going to take my name, phone, and shift out of our props object. And then I will call this action creator that we will make in just a second called employee create. And I'm going to pass it an object that contains the name, phone, and shift. Okay, so this looks good so far. Let's make that action creator and then hook it up to this component. I'm going to open up my employee actions file. So inside my actions directory, I'm going to find employee actions. Remember, this is where we're going to locate all the action creators having to do with employees in any way, shape, or form. And we'll create the action creator. So we'll say export const employee create. And we're going to receive an object that contains a name, a phone, and a shift. All right. I'm going to flip back to our component and just immediately hook up this action creator because it usually ends up being the one thing that I forget to do all the time. So back inside of our employee create component, we will import employee create from our actions file. And then we will pass this down at the connect handler at the very bottom of this file. So I'll scroll down to the bottom, find my connect helper, and this line's getting a little bit long, so I think I'm going to new line it. And I'll pass in employee create. So now my component has access to the action creator as this.props.employee create, and then as exactly how we used it inside of our on button press handler right here. Now, whenever we add in any info here, send it off to the action creator, just to make sure that we're going down the right path, I'm going to add an action creator inside, I'm going to add a console log inside the action creator just to console log the value of name, phone, and shift. All right, I just want to log this stuff here, make sure that we're going down the right path. So I'm going to refresh the simulator now, and we're just going to confirm that we are doing the right thing. I'll bring up my debugger. Here's my debugger so we can see the console log. And then I'll say test@test.com, password, log in with some good credentials. And now when I get to the form, I'm going to do something very particular. I'm not going to touch anything here just yet. Okay, I'm going to enter only a name of Jane and a phone number. I am not going to touch shift. So you'll notice that I did not touch that shift picker at all. I didn't spin it around. I didn't do a single darn thing. Let's hit create now and see what happens. So I get a big red error message here, which is totally fine. It says actions must be plain objects. The action creator that we just created is not actually returning an action. And so Redux is complaining about that. That's totally fine, totally what I expected. But I want to point something out to you. Above those error messages that we got right here, we got our console log. And you'll see that we have a console log with Jane, which is the name, the 555 phone number, but then there is no shift being logged here, right? Let's flip back over to employee create. I am console logging shift, but it appears that shift just didn't get logged at all. And what this actually means is that shift is undefined. Shift is undefined here. So clearly there is something funky going on with that picker. Something isn't quite behaving the way we expect. We are not getting a shift assigned in our reducer. So let's take a quick break and then come back and do a little bit of troubleshooting and try to figure out why this shift is ending up as undefined right here.